Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Best in Minds Association podcast from CSAE. I am Tyrone Adams, your president of the Colorado Society of Association Executives. And for today's podcast, we have the pleasure of talking with Violet Rainwater. She is a sales architect and founder of Chief Rainmaker at the Rainmaker's Way. And Violet, I got to tell you, I love your headline. I went to your LinkedIn page and it says, "Making it rain in the modern workplace. Drive sales with efficiency, ease, and extraordinary results." So I'm going to turn it over to you, Violet, and why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, but then also tell us about the Rainmaker Way.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tyrone. I'm excited to be here. It's always such an honor to share my message and a little bit about the power of video, which we're going to be diving into today. But my background goes back to, I think like the pivotal point where I always like to begin my story is being a child immigrant at a young age to America and coming at a time where things were really booming. Like this was the 80s and it was all about the bling and, all about the money. And I grew up in poverty and it really just created this desire in me to be successful and understand, how do you make money? Because in my mind, growing up in the 80s, that's what I thought. I thought success was making money, which, that's one of the byproducts of success, but obviously that's not the end all. But I became so fascinated with it that I just started studying successful people at a really young age. I became fascinated with the people around me. I was always studying them and, just trying, like the subject tilts her head to the right when she laughs. Like I was just a really geeky kid in that sense, just really fascinated with human development. And so naturally I chose a career in sales because the sky's the limit. I wanted to make it rain in my business and it just came really naturally for me. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the art of what I call making it rain. There's an art and there's a science to it. And that's what I did for most of my career, except for a lot of my career, I did it the wrong way. So I grew up in the corporate financial service world. So I was a financial advisor. And that was a predominantly male-dominated industry. There was like 2% women back when I started. And so I learned how to do it like the boys. I worked 12 to 15-hour days. Dialing for dollars and you're only as good as your last month. And, sales is just a numbers game. And I believed all that nonsense, and I sacrificed so much. And I learned that is not the most efficient way to make it rain. That is not, that's a way that you sacrifice your health, your family. There's just a much more efficient way. And that's what we teach at the Rainmaker's Way. So I founded the Rainmaker's Way to help equip and educate modern professionals to help them with the systems, the strategy, and the spirit of rainmaking, because you need all three. You need systems in the modern workplace, systems like CRM and video. You need strategy, and you definitely need to be in the spirit of rainmaking, which is all about really more of an energetic alignment. And that's what I spoke about at the holiday party. So those that are listening that were at our holiday party will know exactly what that's all about.
So do you think that's why people are, myself included, because when I first got into this business and I had to go out there and do sales for exhibit booths and sponsorships, I was paralyzed.
Yeah.
I was afraid. It was not something I wanted to do. And so I would always put that on the back burner. So what would you say to us to help us get out of that space of, I'm afraid to ask someone for money?
Yeah. It's all perspective. It's this perspective that you are trying to get a fast one on the client or trying to get money from them versus, wow, I get an opportunity to educate and make a difference in this person's life. I get a chance to add value. And that in itself is such an energetic exchange. So you're contributing so much goodness in the world when you just show up, just sharing what you know, because you know their problem. And here you have the solution. That's a blessing that you're offering them. You should be excited to get out there instead of, oh, see, it's all the story that we have in our head. So I would say change the channel, change the story, and start really seeing what you're truly adding into the world by being in this position.
Yeah. So speaking of that, so what would be some of the first steps that you would tell us to do to make sure that we're doing it the right way? I mean, do we need to do research on the client or the
Yes,
prospective client before we go forward? What do you do?
100%. Yeah. So as a sales architect, I walk into companies and I help them build sales systems. Like essentially I take what they have and I upgrade them to be, we're in a more virtual workplace. We have technology today that so many people are utilizing that they weren't right before COVID. So I would say the most important thing where I always like to begin is a target market analysis, really understanding who your target market is, what pain they have, like really understand the pain and really get to understand what is their dream. If this is their pain, well, what does it look like on the other side of it? Because that's what you're bringing. I'm a big follower of Donald Miller. He's a marketing guru. I don't know if you've heard of him, but his whole thing is about the pain and it's a story, it's this storyboard. And that's really what you're doing when you're a sales professional. You're acting as a guide and you're taking this person from their pain and you're guiding them to their pleasure, I like to call it. So I would say really start to understand who your target market is, what pain they have, and how you help them get from where they are to where they want to be.
Yeah, and I would tell you from an association perspective, thank you for that, because that's awesome. But sometimes from an association perspective, when we're the staff and our board is kind of confused about what they want. And how do we help navigate them or lead them in the right direction to do exactly what you're talking about doing, because they don't know who their target audience is. Because maybe their pain point at the beginning, and I could tell you a true story, which is we were in debt as an association and they wanted to bring in non-due revenue. Well, we knew what we needed to do for that. That was the pain point, right? We didn't want to raise dues. Well, that's no longer the case. And now it seems like the board's in disarray because of that. They don't know which way to turn. So I'm sure I'm not the only association that has that experience.
Of course.
But
of course,
how do you help associations get out of that rut?
Yeah, again, it starts with the stories that everyone has. I like to create a joint vision, a vision for 1 year later of what you want it to look like. So begin with the end in mind. Have a meeting together and really start talking about what it would look like. Because at the end of the day, everybody has the same goals. It's just how are we going to get there? That's usually kind of different. Is that am I sensing the same thing here?
Yes.
So when you guys can meet together in vision, there's power in that. Right? Because now you have a shared vision of what you all want for the company, what it's going to look like, and then reverse engineer it. Go back from that. Always going back to that vision, making sure that everyone knows we're all on the same page. We all want the same thing. What are some different ways that we can get there? And really just having a strategy call or a strategy meeting and figuring out what are some ways that we could do this? And then what is the best way to do this? So having everybody collaborate, beginning with that vision and going from there, that's where I like to begin is let's begin with what is possible instead of what's not working.
Yeah. So I see here that you also decided to start your own sales system. Why did you do that?
So it's not that I started my own sales system. I have my own proprietary sales system called connection-based selling. And it's a framework that I teach my students to help them move the needle. And the reason I created that, because being in sales, I was always searching high and low for ways to help me make more money. I was always looking for ways to make more money. And I did spin selling and the Sandler selling. And like I told you, I started at Merrill Lynch where they handed me the white pages selling. So I've tried many different sales models and just it felt off to me because with sales, there's really one main goal, and that's connecting with the person in front of you. And so I always say the deeper the connection, the greater the conversion. The problem is a lot of people don't know how to connect. They don't know how to connect on a heart-to-heart level. Maybe they're freaked out and they're so scared what they're going to say, or they feel uncomfortable about having the money conversation, whatever it is, so they're not able to show up authentically and really just connect and forget about the sale. Just be there, add value, educate, lift their spirits. That's what rainmaking is all about.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. So how many other conferences do you go to? Do you go to like other conferences, or where do you go to get more information to help improve your sales techniques?
Oh, do you mean how do people work with me? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm both a consultant and a speaker. At the moment, I'm completely booked out as a consultant through June
That's
2022.
good.
Yes, it's great. Because my expertise in video, this has been like COVID opened up a whole new world for me. So I'm very grateful. But as a speaker, yeah, I am travel all over. I speak on the franchise space. I speak in the corporate space. I've recently got into the association space and I love it. I love this space. This is newer for me, but it's very refreshing. And I find that wherever you go, people are really the same. Right now, the number one needed message I find in the workplace is one of hope. Even just yesterday, I read an article. I think US Business Weekly or something like that, and how mental health is the greatest concern right now in the workplace, and that leaders really need to start taking a look at that. They can't ignore it anymore. And so that's why, I love traveling and sharing a message of hope, because hope is the beginning of everything. If you don't have hope, you got nothing. So we got to start somewhere. We got to start with giving people back the hope that they had before our world just turned upside down a couple of years ago.
Wow, that is so true, especially this day and age, and how all these industries are shifting. We still don't know what's to come. So tell us, you also do, how do you view the future of the sales industry and the consumers themselves? Because consumers are acting a little bit differently now these days. I heard some statistic where they're saying consumers are actually hoarding their money in savings accounts instead of going out there and spending them. And so if our members are doing that, what's the enticement for a company to want to partner with an association?
When you say what is for a company to want to partner with an association, can you clarify? So what kind of company to partner with?
So for instance, like we have companies out there from a realtor perspective that we want to, maybe it's a closing gift company, maybe it's a financial systems company, that we want to say, we have 29,000 members out there, but we know that, they might not be spending as much money that we hope that they would, or that your market share might be out of that 29,000 is going to really be 800 people.
Right.
So what's going to entice, what can we say to those companies to really get them to come in and show that there is hope and opportunity to reach that pinnacle of 29,000?
So I think it goes back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I love your questions, Tyrone. Like no one ever asks me such deep questions. You really get me thinking. But I think this goes back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? So like with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, he talks about basic human needs have to be met before one can get to the point of performing at peak level. Right. And so it's like, on one hand, we have people that are here and these companies are coming in and trying to help them here. And so I would say you have to solve for this first. You first have to give that sense of safety back to the people. And if they don't have that, so you first have to give them the hope, and then you give them the technical training. First, you have to open up their minds to a whole new reality, because right now, most people are focused on what's not working. And the more that they focus on what's not working, it's not going to work. And so we have to take our attention off of what's not working. And that begins with hope. That begins with starting to think in a new level of thought. So again, I would start with hope. And then once you give that to them, then bring in the additional resources, bring in, the technology, and otherwise they can't even hear you. If they're at a place of, oh my God, I don't have financial stability, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We have to give them back the hope, and then they can, get a little bit more technical.
Okay. So you talked about connecting with people, right? This is what this is about. What communication vehicles do you use to connect with people? Because I think that's equally as important, right?
Absolutely. Yes. So there's very much the energy piece, which I've been talking about, but very much the systems piece. And so today, if you are not using a CRM, then you are leaving hundreds of thousands on the table. If you're not starting to use video in your business, in all aspects of your business, you are leaving hundreds of thousands on the table. Those are the two that I'm always talking about, and it's really because with a CRM, it's kind of like your one and all. And I know a lot of people don't use a CRM. Like I know that they're still using documents and Microsoft, like Outlook calendar to kind of coordinate, but that you're making it much harder. And so with a CRM, it's kind of like your one-stop shop. If you met a prospect 3 months ago and, you just put a little note in, your mind's not going to remember that. You're not going to find that notebook where you wrote it on. But if you put it into the database and maybe some notes on what you talked about, going on a trip next week with her husband, they're celebrating 10-year anniversary, told me to call her back in the summertime. Now, when I go back and I touch that person, because not everyone's ready to go forward right away. Sometimes it takes, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches, sometimes 5 years, but you want to be able to stay in touch with them. And that's what a CRM allows you to do. It allows you to be able to manage all of your book of business in one place.
Wow, you just hit on another great topic, which is follow-up.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of people that don't do what you just talked about, which is stay in contact with future clients or potential clients. And I know that's the case sometimes. I was at a seminar when in Disney, one of the representatives from Disneyland came in and talked with us. He was the executive director. And here's what he told me. The story was this. I'm going to make it real short. He said that he is responsible for housing for all of his employees that moved to Orlando. And so he moved there and he used a real estate professional licensee, and that person never followed up with him again after they sold him the house. He said if they would have just taken the time to talk with him, they could have had a whole book of business for years to come. So why do you think people don't follow up?
Because they don't have a CRM. They're like, oh yeah, I'll call them. I'll remember. Because technology is hard for people to adapt. I work with a lot, I get brought in and there's sales professionals that there's a lot of resistance. They don't want to have a CRM. They don't want to be accountable. They don't want to take notes on everything because it's learning how to do business in an entirely new way. And so there's a learning curve there. But I promise you, if this is the one thing you learn and incorporate in your business in 2022, it's going to pay off 5 times, like 5-fold.
Okay. So what are some of the other pitfalls that you've come across through your years of experience when it comes to sales? Because I'm sure there's more.
Well, right now, a big one is people not jumping on the video train. The consumers have spoken. Video can't be compared to any other modality. I will be sharing some of the crazy statistics, but I'll share one with you so you understand why I'm so excited about video. But Tyrone, when you send just a regular email to a prospect, like just a word email to a prospect, whether it's a paragraph, 2-paragraph, it doesn't matter. They will retain, if they read it, 10% of it. But if you take that same message, put it on a video, hey, it's Tyrone, it was so nice to meet you. Just wanted to tell you how excited I was to make the connection. I'm looking forward to getting to know you better and seeing how I could be of value to you and your business. You put that in a video, they're going to retain 95% of it, and they're going to increase the click rate by 300% anytime you put a video in an email. Like, what?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you be using video? It allows you to connect on a heart-to-heart level. That's why it's so powerful. And right now we have generations that would have never been open to video, like baby boomers before COVID. But now this is the way they communicate with their kids. Like Zoom calls are normal. Watching videos are normal. This is the new workplace. And so the sooner you can jump in that bandwagon, the better it's going to be for you. And if you jump on now, you're going to be a pioneer in this space and you're going to differentiate, rise above the noise. I mean, it's going to be money for you. I love watching people take their business from no video to incorporating video every step of the way, because all of a sudden they realize how much more efficient and impactful they become.
Well, it's very interesting you say that, because I do walk around. I'll take a walk and I'll put a podcast on and I'll walk and I'll just listen to it. And I see people always walking around with their earbuds in their ears now. The earbuds, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know what? You can do a video, but it might not be very good, or it could be very long. And that defeats the purpose. So what is your tip to tell people
Yeah.
about the sales video?
Yeah,
I mean,
I have something I call conversational video, and I say, look, about 60 seconds to 90 seconds, even 30 seconds sometimes. Conversational videos, the way that I like to use these is, imagine if you have a marketing video. Do you see associations of having at least maybe one marketing video? Are you starting to see that more often?
yeah, we
Great.
have a one thing video.
One thing video. Perfect.
Yeah.
So instead of just sending it as like that, what you could do is you can make a personal conversational video to each member and just say, hey, this is Tyrone. Hey, wanted to just welcome you. Hey, we got a little marketing video below I wanted to share with you, and just wanted to personally, thank you again and welcome you to our community. That is going to exponentially increase the results that you're getting, the watch rate, the response rate. And so with conversational video, it's just like a quick little conversation. You're not selling anything. It's just to make the connection, that heart-to-heart connection.
So you're saying don't always sell to them, but make a
No,
connection.
not on video. No, use
Give them
video
information
to deepen the relationship. So then that way, you don't even have to ask for the business. You're just taking their order. If you really do your job, as a sales professional, you're just educating your customer and you're taking their order. That's it. You're not selling anything.
Right. I love that. Because those are the ones that you see as the experts.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I had the success I had. I never sold. I was just excited about the products that I was talking about. And that enthusiasm, that excitement, it's contagious. So they wanted a piece of it. They're like, I want some of that. Okay. How much you want? Great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So a lot of people, when I saw your title, architect sales person, right? Sales. I had no clue what that was. And I think I shared that with you before we got on here. I was like, what does that mean? I had to look it up. So where did that term come from?
Yeah, I've never met a sales architect either. I've never met anybody with my skill set. So the skill set that I have, the system side of it, being able to walk into a company, take a look from A to Z, their current sales process, take it apart and put it together, but add the systems, add the CRM component, add a sales cascade, first touch here, second touch here, third touch here, using the different modalities, and being able to build it in a way that allows it to be more relevant in today's marketplace. So it's really just an architect of sales process. Like, think of a sales process. Everyone has a sales process. I architect those. I build them from the ground up. And a lot of people don't even have a process. They're like, we just kind of do our thing, so that's what I see more often than not, is I see no sales systems, no sales process. So I build them, I plan them, I design them based on the target market analysis, based on the goals of the company. And then we architect, and then we implement, and then we execute. And so I do all the training, I do all of it, all of those pieces.
So do you find more people are calling themselves the sales architects now?
I've never met anyone who calls themselves a sales architect.
Just you, huh?
I've never met anyone that does what I do, but that's why it took me a while to figure out what I do, Tyrone, but it was all worth it, because part of the reason, like I said, I was booked through June 2022 is it's such a unique skill set that I have. Most people don't even think about sales in that way. I think of it as a puzzle. Anytime I walk into a business and I look at their sales, like how they bring in revenue, it's a puzzle to me. And I just take it apart and put it back together in a way that's more effective. I've never met anyone that does that with my specialty. I'm sure they're out there. I've just never met anyone that does that.
Wow, and I'm sorry I missed the holiday party presentation, but you will be speaking to our group again. Is it January 7th?
It is January 7th. Yeah, this is more the technical side. December was the transformational side of rainmaking. This will be much more technical.
Oh, so could you give us a little glimpse of what you're going to talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to be taking a look at how to use video to drive membership and sponsorship sales. So we're going to take a look at why video. We're really going to understand the opportunity here. That's one of the best parts, is how exciting it is, because again, it's another layer of hope. It's like, oh, wait, I didn't even think about that. We're going to take a look at all the different ways you can use videos, and then we're going to dive into conversational video. And every single one of my conversational workshop videos has a lab period. So for about 15, 20 minutes, every single person in there is going to make their own first conversational video. So they're going to learn a third-party platform. They're going to learn how to make a video and upload it into their library. And they're going to have a video to send to one of their members, one of their prospects, or one of their sponsors. So it's going to be an opportunity to not just learn a whole new tool that's going to just completely optimize your book of business in this new workplace. But they're going to be able from A to Z to do it themselves. Like they're going to learn the step by step by step. So that way, when they get back to the office, they can just do it again and again and again.
Well, I just want to thank you for your time today. This has been great, Violet. I'm looking forward to January 7th.
Awesome.
So I can learn more.
Tyrone, I'm looking forward to it too. Thank you so much for having me today.
It's awesome. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas and Happy 2022.
That's right. It's going to be a great year, right?
It's good. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 2022.
It's going to be the year. It's going to be the year for everything.
It really is. I can
Great
feel
stuff.
it. I can feel it. I can definitely feel it.
Yes. So I just want to thank the audience for listening to us today. And I hope you got some great tips from Violet. She shared some great information with us on how to be better salespeople and not to be afraid to go out there and be that person and be that resource for your members and for the partners and everybody involved. And we're going to learn more from her on January 7th, as we mentioned before. So please sign up for that. And I just want to wish you all a very happy holiday season. And we're signing off now from the CSAE podcast. Have a great day.